I can't complain.
I feel it. What's
I'm
up,
good.
Armani?
I'm chilling, you know.
You know, I feel it. It is summer's hot as hell.
Yeah.
It's hot. You look flushed already, man.
I know. I was out for like 4 hours yesterday, so I'm burnt.
Doing what?
Swimming.
You crazy as hell. The sun is like, I swear, the darker you are, the more that the sun just hits you.
Yeah.
But I love it because I can still stay in it all day.
Right.
Though. I don't get burnt. Well, not really. But I'm excited, really excited for y'all to be here. I know I said I wasn't because, you know, I'm such a perfectionist, but I'm really grateful to have y'all here and that y'all are excited about it, that you two are doing the things that you guys are doing, especially as young people, because when I was you guys' age, how old are you?
22.
When I was 22, I still ain't know shit. I wasn't as confident as y'all. I knew I wanted to do a lot, but I was like, you know, so fearful. So I'm very grateful that you guys have the confidence that y'all have. I think it's really cool. So let's start off by you guys telling us who you are and what you guys do. Armani, you go first.
I'm Armani. I go to Capital University. I started out at Notre Dame College on a soccer scholarship, had 3 knee surgeries, and now I'm at Capital. I'm a communications major, and yeah, I'm actually working on my own podcast, so
dope.
That's exciting, and I'm a soccer trainer, so.
That's dope. Tell us a little bit about your podcast, what made you start that, and then also when you finish that, about soccer training and how you got into that and why you do it.
Yeah, so my podcast, I'm a communications major and I want to be a news anchor, like that's my end goal.
Yeah.
I want to be on CNN, Anderson Cooper.
That's dope.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
But I'm really big on just everything that's important in the world, like equality, unity, justice, all that stuff. So my podcast is called It Is That Deep. And basically I'm just going to talk about things that really are that deep. So racial issues, the LGBTQ community, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to bring on guests that have the opposite perspective of me, just to show that like it's okay to have that conversation.
Yes.
It's okay to have different opinions, different views, and stuff like that.
That's dope. That's brave as hell.
Yeah, so,
Ooh, I'm gonna tune in. Well, I couldn't be on it because I agree with you. So, but I would love to see that. That's really dope.
Yeah, I'm excited to get it going. He's kind of helping me out a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Whatever I can.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't got all the skills.
I feel you.
You do.
But you're gonna say you doing good. You
do your own
YouTube
thing.
channel.
I'm doing a little bit.
Yeah.
Not too much. You know,
Yeah.
just trying to be a servant. That's where I can.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I feel you. Armani, real quick, tell us about your soccer training, and I'm gonna ask Fred about all that because I'm interested in that too.
Soccer training, kind of long backstory with my like soccer career, which I'm sure we'll get into in a little bit. But basically, I got the opportunity to train for a club soccer team, which is like basically AAU basketball type of thing.
Okay.
But so I'll be training with them, and then I'm also doing personal sessions as well. And
Dope.
I just want to be able to stay involved since I can't play anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so.
For sure. Yeah, we are going to talk about that. So I want everybody to know why you aren't playing and how you really talk about how you transition into training and how that impacts the youth. Fred, my man. Who is Fred? I don't know too much about Fred. I done talked to Armani a couple times. I heard about her through somebody I went to high school with, Josh, her former trainer. So I want to know about Fred.
Okay.
I heard Fred was a cool dude.
Fred Pitts the fifth.
The fifth.
Yes, the
Presidential.
That's a
Right.
nice little legacy line we building over there.
Yes.
But I go to Ohio Dominican University, majoring in exercise science.
Nice.
And eventually I want to take that and do physical therapy and stuff like that. So, and then around this time last year during the summer, I started my own brand called Increase.
Nice.
And during that year, I went through some troubling times that kind of put me down a path of like depression and just feeling bad overall. So that summer I had lost my grandfather and he was still young. I mean, he was in his 60s. And then that same year, I had a season-ending injury. And I dislocated my elbow. And that was like the first time I ever experienced like a crazy injury that put me out. So just going through that dislocation kind of sent me down the path where I wasn't myself. I wasn't talking to nobody. I wasn't going to class. Because if I did go to class, the drugs was messing up my head, so it was hard to study and learn.
Wow.
But if I didn't take the drugs, I was in some crazy pain. So, and it was hard to sleep. You know, I had to sit up in a chair. So my arm, they told me if I fell asleep the wrong way in the bed and rolled over, it could possibly pop out of place again. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, it was some crazy stuff.
Oh, Fred.
So,
oh my goodness, my elbow hurt now.
it was just a wild experience. And then my mom had sent me a gospel song, and it was just really speaking to me. I'm sorry I forgot what song it was.
Yeah, I'm about to ask.
I had to ask her, but it was really speaking to me, and that just kind of made me step back and think, like, why has God put me in this situation? Like, I'm one of those people that feel like it's a reason for everything.
Yes.
I don't think, like, nothing happens for no reason.
Exactly.
It's crazy. I was in church yesterday, and Passion was bringing up the cicadas coming out every 17 years. I'm like, it's a reason they're here.
Exactly.
Just like, no matter how minuscule it could be, there's a reason for everything.
Yes.
So I was just assessing the situation, like asking God, like, what am I supposed to be seeing here? I was on the point of like just like losing my faith.
Yes.
It was because I'm like, I can't catch a break. And then I was just thinking, like, I'm supposed to be doing something right now that I'm not. I'm supposed to be impacting people that I'm not. And then that's when I created the Increase Brand, which basically means like a faith-based way of living, meaning whatever situation we encounter, whether positive or negative, it's our job to grow from it.
Yes.
So I started adapting that mindset of whatever I go through from here on out, I'm supposed to grow from that.
Yes.
So started a YouTube channel, made some motivational videos on there.
That's awesome.
I got some clothes out. I just made some little clothes with the brand on it for myself.
Don't say it like that. Don't say you made some clothes.
I'm not allowed to, because I'm still under NCAA rules, so I can't really say don't do nothing like that. But I just did make a couple stuff for me.
Shout out to your videographer.
She did. She was. Okay. That's my fault. She was.
Who's the videographer?
She was helping me film a lot of stuff, so I'm definitely very appreciative.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
So, yeah.
That's like I said, it's so commendable that you guys are so young and you recognize that. Because I used to always think like, man, it's the reason everything is happening. If I do one thing different, like the whole world is gonna be different. Yeah. But I thought I was crazy, but it's not crazy. It's the truth. So I'm so glad. And like social media, I think helps y'all too. We think it's so bad, but it's really not if you use it the right way. So I think that if we had that when we was younger, our generation would, we'd be something else. More than what we are now. But I'm so thankful that y'all have it because y'all are a lot smarter than we are. I can say that, and like a lot more driven and a lot more confident. And to hear y'all speaking about the things that you are doing and want to do and how you want to impact the world. You're 19, right? 20. And you 20, y'all so young. 22. I don't even want to tell y'all what I was doing at 20 or 22. It was not what y'all were doing. I think I started to get my mind right when I was maybe 23, 24. But before that, nah, it was nothing but drinking and other stuff, partying and women and whatever I wanted to do. But man, I'm very grateful for y'all. I know I keep saying that, but it's the truth because y'all inspired me and impact me a lot. And I'm a little bit older, not too much older, but a little bit older than y'all. Talk about Armani for you when you got injured. What was your mindset like?
So I had 3 surgeries. They were like a year apart each time.
Okay.
So the first time I tore my ACL, and I actually didn't know I tore it. I played on it for a week, so my mindset initially was like whatever, because I had a camp at University of Michigan, so I was in a teen mindset. And then it popped again when I was there, and that's when it went downhill. But when I found out I tore it, I was depressed. That's when I met Josh and stuff, because he like started helping me. But I was very depressed. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't want to go to practice because I didn't want to sit there and watch everybody else practice, because I wanted to practice.
So you were still in high school at this time?
Yes, it was my sophomore year of high school.
Sophomore year?
Yes.
Still a baby.
Preseason, so I didn't even get like my full season. So I was really upset. And my best friend was graduating that year, so like I didn't even get to play with her. Like it was just like a lot of factors just played into why I was upset. And then the same year, my mom and dad actually got a divorce, and my grandfather passed away. So it was like all at once. So I don't know if
how old were you as a sophomore? Do you remember?
I was 15.
Let's say about 14, 15. So going through all that as a 15-year-old, did you know you were experiencing depression, or was it like, I'm just sad, like I know that there's something wrong, but...
I don't think I realized I was experiencing depression.
Okay.
I knew that there was a lot going on. So my great-grandfather passed away in March. My mom and dad split up in July, and then I tore my ACL in August. So I didn't realize like that one thing is what hurt the most. But now that I look back on it, like the other 2 things, like I'm happier that my parents are split up. Like my grandfather, like life happens, they're gonna pass away. But like the ACL thing, like I feel like I've healed from it, but like it still bothers me that I can't play.
Exactly.
So I feel like I didn't realize I was depressed. I just realized like there's a lot going on and I'm upset about it, type of thing.
So it still bothers you now, to this day, that you can't play?
It bothers me, but I can accept it. It doesn't bother me. It's like, there's times where I'll like look at old pictures or something and be like, oh, I miss it. But you miss everything. If I don't see him for a couple days, I miss him.
Yeah,
so.
That's real. So you more so accept it now, and that's helped you transition to being a trainer. Okay, so do you ever have like moments where you like, dang, I'm about to go play again, I'm going to try to do it, I'm going to try to get, back right, get healthy?
So I left Notre Dame College and came into Capital.
Okay.
And I don't even remember what was going on. I just messaged the coach at Capital and was like, hey. And I met with him and talked to him and stuff. And he was like, you can come train with us and like, we'll get you on the team and all that. And I just thought about it and I was like, I know. Yeah. Like, I wanted to. Like, I took that step of reaching out to him because I thought I did. But after I thought about it and I let things kind of happen, it's not for me anymore. And I still love the sport, and I still go out and like I'll shoot around with my friends, or like we'll go play pickup games sometimes, like, and he'll try to beat me, but it doesn't happen.
But you play soccer, Fred?
I have beat her numerous times. Oh, we ain't got rid of that.
I'm about to say, hold on, we were talking about this.
So like I'm still like able to play, but playing competitively, I realized it wasn't for me.
For sure. I can dig that. You realize mentally you're not in it no more. Your heart isn't in it no more.
I wouldn't say that. My heart is still in it to play.
Okay.
But like, when you leave the sport, you realize like a lot of stuff. Like, it consumes so much of your time. Like, you can't hang out with friends because you have practice. You can't go on vacation during the summer because you have summer workouts. Like, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's like, I had all that time. Like, he used to come up to Cleveland when I still lived in Cleveland. We went to like a Cavs game. We went to the art museum. Like, if I was playing soccer, I wouldn't be able to do any of that. It would be chill in the dorm, wait till I had practice, come back chill with you again. Like, I like to be able to experience things that I didn't get to because I've been traveling playing soccer since I was 3 years old.
How is that as a 20-year-old, you realize like, man, I don't have the time I want to have? When I was 20, I was still in college, still playing. Like you said, didn't have time to breathe really. I didn't know when I was going to eat my next meal, not because I didn't have the money, because we didn't have the time. So I definitely get that. How is that for you now, knowing that you have like the rest of your life to be free and also like make big decisions and choices like that? Like, that's really huge, like really, really huge.
It's kind of exciting. If I could pick a word, probably exciting, because like if I was still playing soccer, this whole podcast idea would not be a thing. Like, school, I get good grades, but it would be harder for me to keep up with things. Like, and I can go do things. Like, I go spend a couple days in Columbus with him and then come back here. If I'm playing soccer, like, I can't do that. So it's just exciting to like have my options open of what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, I never wanted to be a professional athlete, ever. Never, ever.
Really?
Ever.
Not even as a kid?
Heck no. That's not going to change the world. That's going to change my life, but it's not going to help anybody else.
That's dope.
So I never wanted to. But I like the idea that if I want to go play with my friends, I can go play with my friends. But I don't have an obligation, like, I have to go to this game.
For sure.
It's not a thing anymore.
I feel you. I've always said, like, I want to be in history books. And even though, like, Michael Jordan is the best basketball player ever to me, I don't really see him in a history book. I see people, Harriet Tubman, MLK, people like them, like, that's who I want to be. And you're right. It took me a long time, though, to realize I wasn't going to be a superhero being a pro athlete. It took me a long time. And like I said, I'm only 28, but still, 20 and 28 is a huge freaking difference. My wife is 26. I tell her all the time, as soon as she turns 28, she's going to realize what I've been talking about. That the difference in age is huge. Time, and not even age, just the time that you have. But it's all about how you spend it, too, because if I sit up here and act like and keep saying I'm almost 30, I feel like I'm losing time, versus if I just am present and I know I can do all this stuff, it don't matter when I do it. So I really commend you on being brave enough to do that.
And that's like a big thing I learned too, especially recently, is like living in the present moment. Like, I can't sit and dwell on what happened, whether it was my knee or like school stuff, relationship stuff, like anything. Like, I have to live right now. Like, right now I'm doing this podcast. I'm not in Columbus already, and I didn't just wake up. Like, I'm right here right now. So that's something that, and he's helped me a lot with. Thanks.
Dang, you so mean to him, man. Poor more, Fred. I'm gonna get your number, Fred. Check on you sometimes, man.
It get wild sometimes. That's all.
I can already tell she got a little temper already. Dang. But that's what's up. I'm telling you, saved yourself a lot of time and a lot of heartache. Probably a lot less suffering mentally, emotionally, spiritually, because you were able to make that decision for you so early and not let anything or anybody else affect it. Fred, you've been quiet. I know I ain't been asking you nothing now. Let's talk about your injury. I think something that you said about the medicine you had to take is super, super important. I've interviewed people. One of my teammates actually, she had multiple knee injuries and like blood clots in her lungs, like some crazy stuff. And she was addicted to painkillers while we were going to school together, and nobody knew. Nobody had any idea. Another guy interviewed, he was homeless and tore his ACL, was going to school and everything, living out of his car with his parents. And he ended up getting addicted to painkillers because of the pain, and also just it helped him with his depression. So can you speak to us about your experience with that and how you were able to not get hooked on them? If that was your experience, though.
See, my experience with the painkillers was more so just when I take them, I don't feel the pain, but it was like my head was like messed up. Like, so I'll be sitting in like football meetings and I didn't have to pay attention because I wasn't playing, but they talking about do this play and on this play. And I'm like, bro, you're talking in circles right now. I'm getting dizzy. Or like if I'm in like biology class and she talking about a plant does this from photosynthesis, and I'm in my head like usually stuff that I would be able to comprehend, and I'm like, bro, head is spinning right now. I don't know what's going on right now. It got bad to a point where I was like, I just asked her, can I be excused and just go back to my dorm? Cause,
are you serious?
Yeah. So, and she was nice enough because she had experienced injuries and she knew all about that. So it was kind of like I was more so torn between, do I take them and feel better as far as on a pain level, but be dizzy all the time? Or do I not take them and now my mind is there, but I'm in this aching pain? So as far as the being hooked on it, I never had that dilemma to cross my mind. I was just trying to get to where it ain't feel no more pain, no more, and just be good. So I was going to physical therapy with my trainers every single day. That's awesome. That was, I ain't gonna lie, that was a horrible experience.
I bet. It hurt,
because the way they healed it, they put me in a sling, and it was stuck like this for about 2-3 weeks. And then I had to gain that rotation back. I had to gain that back. So basically every other day I would go in the training room, never literally put my arm on the bench, and the trainer would just force my arm to be able to extend again. They call it cranking, and that don't sound good when you hear some cranking, and that sounds crazy. So, or I would have to go into like the little fitness center and hang from my arms, and it will until it straighten out on its own. And I'll have to do that basically every day.
And then you have that locked brace too.
Yeah, so I wasn't a brace. So slowly but surely, like they allowed the degrees for it to extend more. So like I think first, like soon as I got out of the sling, I think the brace was locked at like 45 degrees. Then 2 weeks later, they extended a little bit. So it was just slowly but surely it was extending. But just watching people, like she mentioned when she was talking, just watching people do the sport you love. That's like, in me, like I take pride. You gotta, if you play sports and you don't take pride in what you, or just period, whatever you do in life, if you don't take pride in that, like what is you doing it for? So just seeing, like, not even just seeing people do it, but like seeing people take that opportunity for granted, it's like, that's crazy. Like I'll really do some illegal stuff just to get back on the field. I'll kill somebody to get back on the field. And you taking it and you just playing around with the opportunity. Like, it was so.
Did you ever talk to those teammates about that you saw, like, taking it for granted? Did you ever speak to them about it?
Eventually, I ended up opening up and actually becoming myself and being able to talk to people and actually talk to like people like you said. And it's because my dad noticed, like, he was watching one of our games. And the crazy thing is my parents still came to all our games.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And even though I was on the sideline, they still was coming to him. I'm like, y'all don't have to come to the game. I'm not going to be in there. And then my pops is like, man, I'm watching you. And he always like prided me on being a leader,
Okay.
like regardless of if I'm in the game or not. He's like, I'm watching you and you not in it. Like mentally, you not in it. Like what's going on? Like that's not you. Like you supposed to be a leader. You supposed to be getting people hyped, motivate people on the side, doing what you can do to help. And he like, that's not you. And I'm like, and it took me some time, like just hearing that, I'm like, he not in my shoes. Like, you know, you saying you got that young mind of, man, he don't know what he talking about. Like, he don't know the pain I'm going through. So then I'm just thinking on that. I'm like, man, he right. So then I think it was kind of like our last game of the season. It was like our bowl game. Okay. And I was getting super hype out there. I had my arm to swing. I'm running around up and down the side like he that's who I know. Like that's the person I know. But just pulling cats to the side, like, man, you got an opportunity that you can really do something right now. Like, and then once you get injured, you know, it's people moving up. Like I was on all the special teams, kickoff team, kickoff return, running back. So it's young guys who get to move up in that position, and I was able to talk them up like, hey man, you got an opportunity to use that. So
that's awesome. How humbling was that for you as a person and as an athlete? And then also how transformative was it for you as a leader?
Extremely humbling. Yeah. I'm talking about the biggest humbling experience that I've like ever had before. Yeah. Cause it was like, it's like I said earlier, it just sat me down. Mm-hmm. And I felt like maybe that's why, like I told you, everything happened for a reason. I was trying to see what's the reason that God is sending me down. And I felt like I was moving too fast.
At 20, 21?
Moving too fast as far as I feel like we got things that go on in our life that kind of separate us from like our faith and stuff like that.
Right.
So like you got to think about it like everybody got things going on in their life. So you got hardships, you got things that's going on with your family. If you go to school, that's another thing. If you got sports, that's another thing. If you got a job, that's another thing. So everything in your life is clouding up your judgment. That's real. And you ain't even pray this morning. Ooh. So that's, you know what I'm saying? Like I was like, I'm doing and you think you're on the right path. That's the thing. You're like, I am doing this stuff. And I'm like, bro, when the last time you picked up your Bible? Man. And that's why I'm like, okay, I need to, you know, I'm glad he sat me down. Yeah. Because if I did experience that success of getting 1,000 yards this season, 15 touchdowns, where would I have went with that?
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know different people experience success, but I feel like he do everything for a reason. Mm-hmm. So I feel like if I did go crazy that year that I hurt my elbow, how would I have reacted to the success I would have seen? I would have never known, but I'm glad he sat me down though. That's real. So, and that's the thing though, I still catch myself. Yeah. Because we not perfect, we sin every day. And I still catch myself like, dang, you ain't diving that Bible in a little minute, man. Go ahead and tap in real quick. Yeah. I catch myself just drifting away. Mm-hmm. And that ain't a problem to drift away, but you do need to stay grounded. And like you said, humble yourself.
Yeah. Why do you think at this point in your life when you know that maybe you've mentally recovered from your injury and all the things that have happened, why do you think that you still drift away and you don't dive in as much as you would like to? Because it seems like you really like, you want to be a super faithful warrior of God.
Just because we're people.
That's real.
And we not perfect. I was talking to my dad the other day because we had like on my YouTube channel we was talking about like our lowest moment in our life, and the one thing that I brought up as far as like, because during that we was talking about had we ever been to a point where we lost our faith completely and was just really questioning God, and I think it's because at the end of the day we're people, and if we had everything figured out, there would be no God. Like why would we need faith or anything, religion, anything like that? If we had all the answers, if we was perfect human beings, none of that would have existed.
That's real.
And that's kind of why I keep catching myself as, it's all right. You still not perfect, as you shouldn't be. You will never be perfect. Yeah. We can strive to reach as close as possible, but I just got to keep reassuring myself like, it's okay. You just not perfect, which is all right, but at least strive to be.
Exactly. Is it hard for you sometimes to read the Bible and believe that God is talking to you. You be like, man, nah, that ain't for me. Like, nah, you know, I can't believe that right now because of what I'm going through. Or like, have you ever experienced that?
I kind of looked at it as not necessarily. I think different messages are used for different situations, but I kind of like try to suppress my own feelings and my own thoughts and try to, because I think like I said earlier, our everything that we got going on can cloud our judgment. So I try to suppress myself in that situation, and then think like just the people before me, even like my grandfather and my dad and those people who actually was, you know, servants. Like,
yeah, I want to meet your dad. I really like.
Already. And he's like the biggest, like my biggest role model in this. The stuff that he experienced. He's actually why I wanted to be a physical therapist in the first place. 4 years ago, he had open heart surgery, and I was just watching him go through that. That was the first time I ever seen my dad cry from pain, and I lost it. But seeing him being nursed back to health is kind of what made me want to be a physical therapist.
That's awesome.
It's crazy, like the amount of hardship that he's experienced in his life. And he's still, you know, still faithful, still, you feel me? That's like, so who am I to be able to complain? Like, yeah, I probably went through some stuff, but it's always somebody that went through something more.
Exactly.
I know it's tons of college athletes that are going through something way more. Her, that's why I'm so, like, she inspires me because she went through, all I had was a little elbow. Don't get me wrong, elbow dislocation wasn't painful, but she tore me up 3 times, and that's why I'm like, and that's why when she was going through her stuff,
we were kind of going through it at the same time too.
Yeah. Her last dislocation. I mean, her what was it? My fault.
Meniscus. Her
meniscus, which was her last time, and then my elbow was kind of at the same time.
Man.
So we was like the crippled couple. Just the fact that
I can't even imagine y'all walking around campus together, man.
But the fact that she was still debating of going back after the third one.
Man.
My mind would have, I ain't gonna lie, my mind would have been gone.
For real.
My mind would have been like, oh, these sports not for me at all.
It would to me 1. Fuck that.
And she was still willing to after 3. That's amazing to me. So I think like seeing other people who inspire me,
yes,
because of what they went through. Like we don't get to choose our experiences, but I do think she's in my life for a reason.
Aww.
And that's that inspired me, you know? Yeah. It's crazy. 3 knees, that's wild.
If y'all do get married, let me be the flower girl. So how did y'all, either one of y'all can answer this, how did y'all get through it together, mentally and physically? So you can't walk, you can't grab stuff. What was y'all doing?
It was just, I think the biggest thing that kind of, well, it affected us 2 different ways, and it's based off of how like the way we are as people. So she can speak for herself, but as far as me, I'm one of those guys that just kind of keep everything inside. Yeah. And that's not a good trait to keep. You feel me? So a lot of stuff that was happening in depression that I was experiencing, while we were at the same time, she didn't see a lot of that stuff. And there's 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is I keep a lot of things inside. I get that from my dad. And a lot of men do that.
I was saying all of y'all, bro.
Sometimes they don't like being vulnerable. They just keep that inside, and you don't want nobody to see that side of you. And then 2, she kind of made the experiences better. Like when she was around, it was just like none of that even really mattered. Yeah. So those were the 2 things that kind of got me through. Yeah. So
man, I feel like I didn't accept anything, honestly, until in Greece, I think. And even then, I don't think so. I mean, we know this last year has been hard for me and us, but a lot of it was because I allowed soccer to define who I was as a person. And I always knew who I was. Like, everyone always, and I knew, like, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I'm beautiful, like, I'm selfless, all those things.
Yeah.
But soccer always came first. Soccer always, well, school came first, but, like, it was, like, as soon as school's over, like, it's soccer. And, like, I have to do soccer instead of doing this. So soccer is what defined me. And when that was taken away, it was, like, I knew all those other things, but, like, cicada. I knew all those other things. But soccer was, like, ahead of all of them. So it was, like, I had to learn who I was again. So then when he dropped Increase, and, like, I still watch those videos from last year, and it kind of, like, got me in that mindset that, like, one, everything happens for a reason. And you have, the whole reason you created Increase was because you have to grow through the dirt and the mud and the ugly and stuff to become something beautiful. And I had to grow through 3 knee surgeries and everything that I went through to become who I am. And I can say that I've fully accepted who I am. And then, like, you have the what is your purpose video. Like, I can say that this podcast and, like, soccer training, like, my purpose was to never be a soccer player. I didn't want to be a professional soccer player. That wasn't my purpose. Like, my purpose is to pass that love on to other kids and create that community, because I believe soccer is, like, the world language. Like, that's the only sport that's played literally everywhere. So that's my purpose, is to spread that love. So awesome. I feel like as far as how he helped me get over it was the mental aspect of it. And so, like, how he said I'm in his life for a reason. Like, everything happens for a reason. Like, Increase happened to you for a reason, but it happened to me for a reason too.
Exactly, for all of us. Definitely. You two are living proof that it doesn't matter how old you are, where you are, what you're doing, that God can use you and wants to use you, needs to use you. I mean, again, y'all being so young, I just got so much respect for y'all, because if I was like that when I was young, there's no telling where I would be now. So please keep being as confident as y'all are and as driven. Don't let nobody tell y'all nothing. Keep doing what y'all doing. Tell your parents thank you. Tell yours thank you for me, because they did a great job raising y'all. Something I wanted to ask you. I'm going to have to edit this part. Hold on.
I'll take your time.
It was something about y'all being injured.
I remember one time, I know you mentioned how I was going through that. I remember one time she came to my school, and she hadn't ate for, like, some days.
What?
Because she was, of course, feeling the all the type of feelings that she was
feeling.
That
was like our first argument.
And she came to my school, and then she came to my school and stayed with me and thought that she wasn't gonna eat.
Oh.
I'm like, man, you know how I sit here and me going, I'm in the health sciences and I study all that stuff at school, so I know the effects that it can have on your body. You not eating versus you eating. So she's sitting in my room. I'm hungry, but I'm not gonna eat nothing. I'm just gonna wait till tomorrow. I'm like, you're not about to just sleep with some hunger and for no reason.
Like, gonna tell you, like, you ain't gonna do something. I'm like, bro, we about to go get something to eat. Why you didn't want to eat?
How sad.
I feel
because it was that point. That was before I had, like, talked to the coach and said, like, hey, this is what's going on. I was in that point of, like, confusion and, like, what do I do? And what happened was, so my knee kept buckling. Like, I was going through therapy and stuff, but, like, it just, like, was not working. Like, I was listening to the doctors and it just wasn't going anywhere. And it would, like, I'd be walking to class and it would just, like, buckle and stop. So I went and talked to the doctor about it, and he was like, your knee's been through a lot. Like, basically, like, it's gonna be like this. So he never told me, like, you can't play. But I don't want to be uncomfortable playing the sport that I love. And if you're uncomfortable doing that, you're not going to be able to produce at your best. So you're letting your whole team down. And, like, I'd rather end, like, and be able to do the things I'm doing, go still play, go to the field with him, and, like, do all these things, than it end and, like, not be able to move at all and not be able to do anything. So I was trying to decide, like, what do I do? And then when I left from talking to the doctor, I was trying to make it back to my dorm because I was, like, crying, like, wanted to call my mom, and I put my music on shuffle, and Let Go and Let God is what came on. the first song, and I was like, okay, I got it.
That's beautiful.
And so then I was like, it was right before winter break, and I went to visit him. So I was like trying to decide, like, think through winter break. What do I want to do? What should I do? So I was like depressed and sad. I think we both kind of took on those like I was definitely being a mom to you that whole time. I was calling him like, make sure you take your medicine, or make sure you're eating.
I'm like,
So
I think I got it.
She said,
I
I got it
we
now.
both kind of took on that caretaker
Yeah.
role for each other. But
Do you do better now with expressing yourself, or is that still hard for you? Not just about your injury, but just in
He
life
does
in
better.
general.
Yeah.
I say if she's saying it, you must be doing better.
Yeah, I think I do better.
Yeah.
Just being honest with those feelings and letting them in. And I mean, and I was doing that ever since I was young, like just covering up feelings with a smile.
Yeah.
And it's not that I think, I don't know, maybe, it's just like, I feel like all I needed was myself to get through this stuff.
I feel it.
And I'm like, I just smile through this. I'm gonna bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna bounce back. I need nothing. And you can't really live like that, especially when you're in a relationship. You gotta open up.
Exactly.
And that took me a little minute to do that and start doing that. It was it's been a progress, but I think definitely experiencing those things and what we did, both experiencing those things together, kind of helped that as well. So. Because I remember when that same time that she came to my school and wasn't eating, we had a crazy conversation in the car on the way to Applebee's. Because she like, I'll go, I don't know if I'll eat that. Because he still ain't ate. Yeah. So we had a great, you remember that?
that was like the first time we really like
crazy
started
conversation.
right before.
Yeah. And we
Started
ended up
crying.
Oh.
in the parking lot. We in the parking lot at Applebee's, and then we end up getting out and we end up eating. I think we had a good time.
Yeah,
so.
that's awesome, man. So it's like y'all don't argue a lot, which is good. Then. Okay,
But for me, it's just like a regular
relationship, but it's not like y'all. Yeah, y'all seem like y'all talk through things. That's good. As a boy and a man, because you're a man now. You already recognize. I'm like this not because I want to be like this. It's literally a man thing. We don't know why y'all like that. How can you? For real, it bothers me. It really bothers me. But whatever. How for you recognizing that? What do you think that's going to do not only for yourself, but for when you have children, for your friends who are men, even for your father, for him to see you being able to express yourself and be in touch with your emotions?
I think it's all about knowing when to turn it on and turn it off. Because
that was such a man answer. My goodness.
And it's simply because in different environments, you have to be a certain way. If I'm on the football field, I'm not about to. You feel me?
Okay.
I'm gonna keep a certain level, a certain attitude. I don't care how tired I am. I don't care if I just got hit that last play and he really hit me, or if I get injured or anything like that. I'm gonna keep a certain attitude level.
I can respect.
And then now, okay, I'm in the house. I'm chilling with her.
Okay,
let me relax and open up a little bit. But when I'm in that environment, where you feel me, that environment where
masculinity, lots of
and people get ate up in that environment. When you in that environment of competition and I want to be the best and he not gonna beat me on this rep. There's no way I'm letting this other man beat me. You gotta carry yourself a certain way when you in that environment. But that's what I'm saying. Learning how to turn that on and turn that off.
Yeah, I respect it. Go ahead.
I feel like we went through a rough patch not too long ago, and you said to me, I forget how you worded it, but basically, it's good to express your emotions, but to the point of where it could not harm someone physically, but hurt them emotionally or something. Like, you have to know how to express your emotions in a healthy way.
Exactly.
I did say that, didn't I?
You did say that.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at you. Didn't even know you was saying
I know I said it, but I didn't know she remembered it.
I listen to you. But that's something I'm not a very nice person sometimes. And I've said hurtful things and I've done hurtful things. But it's out of emotion. Like I feel like everybody, like no matter how much you love someone, if your emotions are getting the best of you, you could say something you don't mean or whatever and like realize it later on.
For sure.
But you have to learn like how to control that. Like you really have to learn to think before you speak. Like you are taught that all the time growing up, but you don't realize like you really have to think before you say anything. So
that's kind of like one thing that we had differences on in the past. Is like she said, when you're expressing your feelings, if those feelings are true, you should be allowed to express them.
Exactly.
But the limit is to where you start hurting other people based off the feelings that you express in a way. Like people cope and how you do it, because people cope different ways.
Exactly.
So yeah, like the way she may cope is completely different from what I cope,
and that's okay.
And that's okay.
But it's just you have to do it. You have to still respect the other person and do it in a respectful way.
That's very enlightening.
Because I'm one of those people. I don't know. I think I'm different. Because my mom and dad be saying like, "Hey, you different." Because I'm really
what you mean?
Like just because if certain situations that we had in the past and the way we expressed our feelings and stuff. Me personally, I don't say no type hurtful things ever.
You don't seem like it.
Like ever. Just because I feel like, no, I ain't gonna say nothing hurtful. You feel me?
I wouldn't say that. You don't intentionally do it.
Without intention.
Okay.
I should say that.
But me, on the other hand, if I'm mad, I'm gonna be like,
you going at
I'm going at your neck. Like, I don't care. I do not care.
And I had to learn that that's normal. Because I talked to my parents and they're like, that's normal that people, if you mad at somebody. And I'm like, I just can't get down with that. Like, that ain't me. Like, I ain't going to intentionally try to.
Like you.
I ain't going to intentionally try to, you feel me? But I had to learn, like, we cope in different ways.
Exactly.
But finding that medium ground between each other and finding that agreeing of, okay, this is how we're going to do things. This is allowed. This is not allowed. Like, I feel like that helped us move into a more healthier direction.
For sure. Have you guys ever, either on your own or together, sat and thought about or talked about how maybe the way you were raised impacts your relationship? Because that has a lot to do with how we are as people and how we function in general.
We kind of have. I feel like we more so have talked about like the experiences that we experienced. Like his parents are still together. Mine went through a like awful crazy divorce and like how the things I go through with my dad and stuff and the things that he's gone through. Like we kind of talked about how situations have molded us into who we are.
For sure.
And it definitely like, I don't know what the right word is, but like it gets you to know the person better and like why they do certain things, like, and like even just being around like you are your dad, like you're literally a miniature version. Well, not miniature. You're your dad, and so like being around and stuff, it just makes me understand. Oh, like this is why he's doing that because that's what he's been around all the time. So I feel like,
Is that all right?
Yeah. So, for you, when you train kids, what is your mindset with that approach? Like, is it like, I'm going to give them what I didn't get when I was a kid, or is it more so like you just being yourself?
Well, I had an amazing soccer career. Even though my dad and I don't have the best relationship right now, like he's the one that introduced me to soccer, and that's what our relationship held on to, and I still like, he's the one, he actually was a huge trainer around here, like huge, everybody knows who he is. He went out to California for a little bit trained, but he just moved to Louisville, so he's like sending all his old kids to me, so
that's awesome.
I appreciate him for that. But I played for like very high level clubs, so I never didn't have anything that I thought that I needed as far as training wise. Like one of my coaches is actually the women's coach at Wright State, and like we had people come from like South Africa and all those things, so like I experienced it all, so I don't think I have that mindset at all. But what I want to do one day is I'm big on the things that matter, the racial issues. Everybody is like, nobody's a bad person just because of their race or ethnicity or nationality or whatever. And I want to be able to express that through soccer because, like I said, I feel like soccer is the world language. Like, it's played everywhere. I've gone to the beach and, like, there's people that do not speak my language, look completely different than me, and I can pick up the soccer ball and we're having fun and laughing and connecting and playing. Awesome. And I want to be able to give that to those kids. So like during my training sessions, I have a playlist and it's like reggae music, Latin music, like African music, rap, hip hop, pop, country, like, and I just play it and they're young, and I feel like nothing's gonna change while we're alive. Nothing may ever change, but right now, like, we're not gonna see change by the time we die. Like, it's not gonna happen. But what you have to do is you have to teach those young kids and the new generations and stuff, like, you have to instill that mindset into them so that it just kind of like flows as they get older and it just continues to flow. So I feel like right now, since I can't like go make a big organization right now or anything, like introducing to them to those different kinds of music, and like I have like a group of kids and there's like a little like an African American boy, white boy, there's this little I think he's from Argentina or something.
Oh, nice.
Something like that. Like a bunch of different people, and just being around them and like being in that environment and just laughing and having fun, they'll realize like, oh, okay, like I can, a white person can have fun with a black person like that, like it's cool. So I feel like that's my mindset going into it, because that's what I want to do. Like as far as like the new stuff and all that, like that's what I want to do, but I want to still be involved in soccer. So that's how I feel like I'd make my impact.
For sure. You'll figure out how to tie it all together.
Yeah.
It might even have to figure it, it'll just happen. Somehow.
Yeah, I feel like it's it's just, I gotta go with the flow and let it happen.
Yeah. Or you can keep them both separate, two separate worlds.
Yeah.
You go from soccer to the news and back, you can keep it all separate. But I feel that for me personally, when I say like giving back to kids what you didn't get, when we talk about race, as a dark-skinned black female, we don't get the same empathy as anybody lighter than us. So when I would fall and get hurt, everybody just watch and wait for me to get back up. Little white Susie fall, everybody sprint to make sure she all right, you feel me? So that, I recognize that when I'm coaching kids, even when I'm just interacting with people, I try not to go out and like not speak to white people and only speak to black people, but I make sure when I see black women that I see them and that they know that I see them, because we don't get seen, especially again the darker you are. But I just now, my wife, that's who talks, she's from Chicago, from the west, well, she say from the north side, I say the west side. So our experiences in life are very different. I was raised somewhere like here, so I only been around white people. That's what I knew. I thought I was white for so damn long. I don't know how, but you feel me? But it was like, look, if y'all see my teams, I was always the only black kid on the team.
And I feel like I look white. Like, everyone thinks that. But I'm biracial. Like, my dad's black, my mom's white. And soccer is a predominantly white sport. And I feel like I never, struggled, I would say. But it would always, I would feel some type of way, because it's like I was always the only biracial girl on the team, and it would make me feel like, even though I don't look it, like I feel it. That I know that I am inside, and it's just weird and awkward to be that stick out or stand out. And people would all when I was younger, I played for this team called Celtic, and they would always say stuff about certain things that I would say, or my slang and how I would talk. And I'm 11 years old, and it's it just didn't make sense. So, and I feel like that's another conversation, being biracial and light skin, that's just completely different. So
yeah, I didn't understand either until somebody I dated in college, she was saying you don't get accepted by the white side or the black side. So it's you have to figure out who you are, and you got to basically pick a side instead of you just being. And
it's hard because even when did I get pulled over for that light? It was still during school. I got pulled over because my license plate light was out. Okay. And obviously the cop looks at me and is oh, white girl, but on the inside I'm hands on steering. I'm okay, he's what if he gets what if somehow he knows, because I had my hair a little curly that day. It's because I know inside I have black in me. Yeah. So it's just sad, a hard
That's really sad though. We laughing, but yeah.
It's sad. I mean, it's not funny, but it's it's stupid that I feel this way, because
we gotta laugh to keep from crying.
I gotta wait. I gotta wait till summer to actually look like a
darker. I ain't got that problem. I'm this color year round. But that is another conversation, a great conversation I think to have, because I even want to understand. Because again, talking about getting what I didn't get, being big on just recognizing things in people. So why do people act the way they act? If I have a biracial girl on the team and she's more withdrawn? Is it because you don't know which way to go, or are these kids picking where, like, what's going on? Mental health also is a big thing for me, recognizing anxiety in kids and even depression, being able to see those things in them. If I just say like, hey, you're not shooting good, and they start to cry, well, what the hell is going on at home, because I ain't really say nothing to you. So being able to see those things, because I can see it in myself, so I think that's really, really big. And I know that the more you grow as a trainer, as a coach, as a person, that you already are thinking that way in a sense from your experiences, because you are biracial. Is there anything that you guys want to say, to talk about before we end this? Because I don't have any more questions. Y'all can ask me questions. Y'all can ask each other questions, however y'all want to do this.
I think I'm all good.
You got everything else?
Y'all start diving deep at the end. I was really feeling it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I was really feeling it. She very big on all the equality and stuff.
Yeah.
And she
I saw that.
we'd be sitting there talking, and she be ready to fight me.
He likes,
For real?
and that's one of the things I like, because like people always say you're attracted to someone that challenges you, and like it gets on my nerves, but I'm ready to like have a full-on presidential debate with him. But I like it, even though we have the same views, but he just takes the opposite view just to pick at me.
Because I'll be trying to prepare, because she trying to get all these different people with different views.
Exactly.
And I'm like, they gonna be coming
for
prepared.
real. Somebody might call you on the show. Shoot.
And then also she be getting so serious, and sometimes I just throw some jokes in there
to calm her down,
to still lighten it up, like we still having a good time, and you can learn and talk, and I think that's what she is gonna do is a pretty good job when she does do that.
That's
just
awesome.
Keeping that calm environment and having different views than somebody else, but still being able to talk about them in a peaceful way. So
yes, no, we be arguing too. We start off talking about, like you said, agreeing with stuff, and the next thing you know, what the fuck you talking about? That? Like we going at it for no reason, but like you said, agreeing on the same stuff.
I'm like the comedic relief type of.
Like neither one of us did.
No,
that's funny.
And sometimes it's to the point like me and his parents would be like, "You're joking too much." Like,
for real,
you gotta stop.
Man,
but
that's what's up though.
But it's good.
Yeah, at least you like that.
It brings the laughter to the room.
For sure. But both of y'all had them tempers, and would y'all even be right here right now? Exactly. That's dope. I'm gonna definitely, I would want to have y'all honestly invite y'all back separately, and then as a couple, because we are thinking about starting a podcast together about relationships. So you guys are already very just very mature. But this is my first relationship. This is so sad that I've actually been committed in. So I think that y'all doing that with each other helps y'all a lot, because y'all are so focused on what it takes for y'all to grow together instead of y'all as individuals. And that's all I used to be focused on, is how I can get, like you said, I can do all this by myself, and I can't. So I think it's really good that y'all already recognize that and how much y'all help each other. Like, you already know she too serious with shit, so let me lighten it up and help her, or even attacking her with stuff, because you know that's going to happen. That's awesome. And you said increase, I don't know how many times, shouting out his stuff, so that's really dope. But yeah, and your dad, because I want to know how he raised you as a young man. Because I want 4 kids. She probably ain't gonna let us do all that, but I would like to have 2 boys, 2 girls if possible, but however they come out, they come out. But I'm really just, raising men, raising boys, being a black woman and knowing that it takes a village and there's a little black boy who lives downstairs, that's my little man's. But just how can I speak to y'all the best? And even talk to your mama. Talk to your mom and dad, because I want to be a parent real soon, so I'm trying to talk to my parents.
You can talk to my mom.
Okay. Because I want to be a parent. I ain't talking to my parents about a parent, because I know me, so I don't need their advice about how to raise me. But yeah, that's what's up. So I'm gonna take probably all this out that we just talked about at the end. But before I cut it off, though, is there anything else y'all want to talk about?
Thank you. This is fun.
Thank you though for this experience. When she told me about it, cause she was I remember she answered the call. We was at school, and this was when y'all was setting up the day.
Okay.
And she's like, "You want to be on it too?" I'm like, "It's your thing. Why you trying to get me on it?"
Oh, and
I'm like, "Just come." I'm like, alright, I'll do it for moral support. I said, but then when I got here, and then she was like, oh, she like going to talk about you, some stuff with you too. I'm like, okay, Dad.
I feel like it was good for us.